think?
What? Nice and crisp.
Nice and crisp out. We've already seen 3 deer.
Yeah.
Driving. Alright, so yesterday the buck decoy was kind of, I don't know, scaring off some of the smaller bucks. So with that drag rag, I just brought in some dopey on a drag rag and hung it in that limb right there. I decided I'm going to go with the bedded doe look. Put a little bit of brush around it, put the leg back like it's sleeping. I don't know. It's a pretty jacked doe, but maybe it'll work. We'll see. Head to my tree stand. Well, good morning guys, and welcome back to another video. I'm all set up over the exact same food plot that I was yesterday evening when I saw all those bucks. When I got home I counted it. I saw 9 bucks in total, several of them big mature shooters. So last night I decided to leave most of my gear in the tree because I had a great wind to come back and hunt this again this morning. So came back in, I pulled a drag rag on my way in, and then I set up the decoy in a bedded doe position. So I took the antlers off and just kind of set it up with a little bit of brush around it to make it look a little more natural. So we're about half hour or 45 minutes into daylight right now. I've seen 1 doe just above the food plot, and then 1 small spike buck with his nose to the ground running back behind me, headed out the opposite way. So hopefully it should be a good morning. The only unfortunate thing is the wind is supposed to pick up like really bad. It's supposed to get up to, I think, 20 miles an hour, and that just makes for fairly poor hunting conditions. But you know, it's late October and anything could happen. Obviously yesterday they were moving early. I'm looking forward to this morning's hit and seeing what comes in. Hopefully one of those big boys from yesterday comes in. I'd love to get a shot at that big 8. He kind of tripped my fancy. He was a sweet buck, so hopefully he comes in. Alright guys, so Ryan has already headed back to the truck, and man, it is getting so dang windy. It's probably 20-25 mile an hour winds right now, and the only deer I saw this morning were the 2 that I mentioned in my opening interview. I saw 1 doe right at first light and I saw one little spike buck right at first light, and as I'm talking, there's a doe right behind me. Literally. I don't know if that's a doe or a spike. Looks like a doe, but I'm gonna watch him because there might be a buck behind him. It's a spike buck. Looks like a button buck and a spike buck. Back behind the stand, just feeding right now. Might be that same little spike buck that I saw this morning. But I mean, you can tell how windy it is. I mean, I'm talking at a normal volume and they're only 60 yards away. They can't hear me. The wind is ripping so dang hard. But I'm gonna watch them for a little bit now that they stepped out. I think they just stepped out to eat a little bit. They're munching on some acorns underneath that big oak tree. And I think they're gonna just head right back up into bed. I say, gonna watch them for a little bit, see if anything else pops out, but otherwise I'm gonna pack up and start heading back to the truck. Alright, got the decoy all packed up. Headed back to the truck. We'll have to game plan for tonight. Made it back to the truck. Throw this decoy in the back. Alright guys, we just made it back out to the spot. I'm going back to hunt the exact same stand. That thing produced so well last night that I'm gonna give it another try. Ryan is headed to, you're headed to the stand that I hunted the first morning, right?
Yeah. So it's probably, heck, that's probably 600 yards from you, at least, through a big open field. I think they're traveling that the neighbor's fence line of thick hardwood, so maybe we'll be able to call one in and get one on the ground. That's what we're hoping for. So we're just gonna load stuff up now and get to walking, head back into the stand. I pulled all of my stuff out of the stand this morning thinking I might be hunting somewhere else, but here I am headed back to the same stand, so I'll set everything back up. But we'll see you guys out there. Looks like some fresh tracks on the road right here. Fresh doe tracks anyway, which is good because they're chasing right now. If we can keep does over here, we can find the bucks. Well guys, made it up into the stand. We are right back in the exact same spot that I hunted this morning and yesterday evening. The reason I'm back in this spot is I saw 9 bucks yesterday evening out of this set, and I'm almost thinking that I would have had a shot at this one at last light, I think, if I didn't have the decoy in the field. I don't think he liked the decoy a whole lot. He came out to the edge and he was staring at the decoy for about 2 minutes. So, and he ended up just working down the fence line. I think he wanted to come out into the food plot, but he was hesitant too because of that decoy. I know those boss buck decoys have got really, really big bodies on them, and these Oklahoma deer, they probably aren't used to seeing other deer that are that big of bodies. So anyway, so set up in the same spot. It's early, it's like 2 o'clock, so you know, who knows, you never know. We might have something slip through the food plot and give us an opportunity here at 30 yards, and hopefully it's that big 8-point from last night, or that one that showed up on the edge of this field last night. I mean, both just awesome deer, and I would be stoked to have a shot at one of those. So
I just had that big 8-point, 87 yards. He's working his way away from the food plot. I mean, he went way out into that grass field. He was on track to come follow this other smaller buck that I was just filming in the food plot. He was on track to come right to 40 yards, but he just, like every smart buck does, worked his way out into that grass field and got a good look at the food plot, realized there was no other deer in the food plot, and just kept moving. I tried calling at him, but he didn't want to come in. I guarantee he's gonna go hit those scrapes over by that pond dam that I filmed him the other night. How close can I get to this deer without killing him?